Tim, thank you so much for joining us here on TWILA.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
Well, tell me a little bit about your background. I know that you've been in the insurance industry all your life for the most part.
Yeah, Avery, yeah, and yeah, I like to say, you know, my adult career, if you will. But I grew up in the small town of DeRidder, north of Lake Charles. I'm sure a lot of your viewers are familiar with that, in Beauregard Parish. Grew up in an insurance family, under an insurance roof, as you say. My father started off as an agent back in the 70s and grew his agency successfully, and he and his partners started a company called AmeriSafe, which writes workers' compensation. They write comp all over the country, publicly traded company, very successful. And then my father was also chairman of LWCC, Louisiana Work Comp Corporation, started in the late 80s, or I guess early 90s. And he was chair for the first 23 years it was in business and of its existence. And I say that just because that's my DNA, that's in my blood, insurance. And that's the roof that I grew up under, the eyes that I saw. Because my father was engaged in helping identify problems, creating solutions, and implementing those solutions. And that's kind of what I've brought through my insurance career and what I hope to bring to the citizens of Louisiana as hopefully the next Commissioner of Insurance.
And Beauregard Parish, quite rural, so you saw some of the insurance needs of folks who live in rural areas, because it's a little different than folks in urban areas.
It is. You know, in Beauregard Parish, it has a heavy forestry, forest agriculture product. We've got, obviously, you know, we've got some crops and we've got cattle over there as well, but I mean, trees, that's our big product. And we've got a mill there. We've got a new plywood mill that just went up, and so we've got Canfor and then Package Corporation of America, big, you know, users of wood products. And I understand, you know, we talk about insurance and we tend to think about how it impacts us from a home, you know, expense there in our auto, but I think that part of the conversation we haven't had is how it impacts our economy. And whether it's your business, if you're in the business of cutting trees down or hauling them out or getting them to the mill, growing trees, I mean, it's all interconnected. And, you know, as your viewers know, agriculture is our biggest product in the state of Louisiana, and we need to pay attention to that. And as Commissioner, I'm certainly going to try and help bring some solutions and implement those.
And going into your background a little bit more, tell me about your career in the insurance industry. I understand you've worn a lot of hats over those 23 years.
I have. You know, I don't really tell this story a lot. My very first job in insurance was immediately after graduating high school. My father and I got on a plane. We went to London. And I started working at Lloyd's of London as an 18-year-old, did an internship there all summer. And so that's kind of when I started. Then went to college, and after college, started off as an insurance agent. Worked in an agency that my family had in Shreveport. And did that for several years, just cold calling, you know, producing business, if you will. And then later a couple of years later, moved to Dallas. And just got more heavily involved. And over that 23-year period, I say 23, it's right about there. Let's just say 2 decades. But over that period, I was an insurance agent. I managed offshore captive. I was a reinsurance broker, and we hear a lot about reinsurance right now and how the cost of that is part of what's driving up the cost for all of us on our homeowners and auto. Was part of a commercial trucking management team for the biggest commercial trucking agency in the country. I've done disaster recovery. I managed catastrophe claims. Let's see, what else have I done? I mean, there's a lot of hats.
What haven't you done, right?
Yeah, right. You know, there's a lot. And I think it's important that the next Commissioner of Insurance, I think they need to. Obviously, I think they need to be from the industry because I am. But they certainly need to understand the complexities of insurance, because the solutions that we're going to have to bring are going to be complex. There is no simple, you know, if you do A, it equals B and everything's fine. It doesn't work like that. And so we need to truly understand the complexities of it to help work with the legislature, work with our new governor, work with our new attorney general, our new treasurer, all the other statewide offices changes that are taking place, as well as the legislative leadership, to truly identify what the solution needs to be and implement that. And at the end of the day, it's competition. You know, it's making Louisiana a marketplace that insurance companies want to come to, as well as making it a marketplace that companies that are already here can continue to thrive. You know, I say it all the time, you want companies to make a profit because that's how they pay claims. If they aren't making money, it's very difficult to pay claims. So we need to nourish them, if you will, and make the changes, regulatory and statutory, so that insurance companies can come here and also the ones that are here thrive.
Is that why you're running again? Because 4 years ago you ran as well, put in a very good showing in that first attempt to run for Commissioner of Insurance. Is that part of the reason why you're running this time?
Yeah, you know, when I ran last time, when I made the decision to run, the current commissioner had announced in years prior that he would not be seeking re-election, and so I started, you know, down that path. And then he came and decided he was going to run again. And I was challenging at that time I think a 15-year incumbent to the office. Very difficult, but I was determined to do it. And yeah, I think the final results were 47-53. What was it? 549,132 votes, which, if you think about over 500,000 votes, was encouraging to me. You know, that many people believed in my idea, my mission, my vision, and that helped definitely make me make the decision to continue to try and seek that office.
You touched on some of the things that are issues in the insurance industry here in Louisiana. What do you see as the problems, and what do you propose as possible solutions?
Well, you know, one of them is that I think that we, all of us collectively as voters, but also in the folks that are in office, the lawmakers, if you will, need to acknowledge that insurance companies don't have to do business here in the state of Louisiana. You know, other than Louisiana Work Comp Corporation, which I mentioned earlier, LWCC, and Louisiana Citizens, those two are required by law to offer policies in Louisiana. Any company that you're doing business with other than those two decided to come here, including you know, Farm Bureau here. So they chose to be here. We need to acknowledge we're competing against states like Texas and Mississippi and Alabama and Florida and Colorado and all 49 other states for companies to want to come and write your policy and my policy. So we need to work and focus on regulation to make it more attractive, to make it more user-friendly, because we want companies to pick Louisiana. We also need to look at the laws that are on the books. You know, what laws make Louisiana an outlier? What laws on the books make it more difficult for companies to come in? And it's really the hurdles, barriers to entry, to come into the state, to operate in the state successfully. And that's what I'm going to bring to the office, is that understanding and acknowledge that we're competing. And we want companies to come here, but also, like I said, to come and stay and thrive. That's success. Competition, that's going to breed competition. Competition is, at the end of the day, is what we all want, because that's the only way we're ever going to get a lower insurance rate, is someone coming in and wanting to offer something for $1 less than the other company. And competition is what you're doing right now. He's competing for your vote at home. So you are also a card-carrying member of the Louisiana Farm Bureau. I saw it in your pocket there a little while ago. I have my card right here, my membership card. I've been a member, I think, since 2018. I think it was 18 when I joined, proudly. And, you know, look, this is a great company, great organization. The Federation is strong. The members are great people. And, you know, that's one of the things we were talking earlier today with someone about, just traveling the state and, you know, how that, you know, is that tiring? You know, I mean, because some people say we're a small state, but let me tell you, when you're traveling the roads, it's a big state. You know, and it gives me energy. I enjoy meeting the people of Louisiana. We've got great people all over this state. And, you know, like I said before, you know, a lot of times you kind of get caught up in all the negativity you hear on the media. But having traveled the state, you know, north, south, east, and west, there are a lot of good people in the state. And I'm excited. I'm proud of my state, and I hope to be part of the leadership to help steer us into calmer waters, if you will. Well, thank you very much. He is Tim Temple, running for Commissioner of Insurance. And Kristen, again, polls will be open at 6 o'clock in the morning on October 14th.
After the break, we return to talking about a race that has a number of candidates seeking your vote. Avery visits with a candidate for Secretary of State up next. Stay with us.